So I guess this is now a 10.5 or an 11. Top 11 list for Nicole and top 10 list for me. Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy with the Chance of Meeples. Once again, joined by my wife, Nicole, and we are going to be talking about our favorite game.
Everdell.
Everdell is our favorite game. We played this a lot. We got it beginning of 2020, actually when the world was all level, grounded, and we've played it 100 times in 2020. It's just under 200 times.
Yeah.
So we decided, hey, why not talk about our 10 favorite cards in Everdell? And we're going to be doing this by just talking about the base game. No collector's edition, no extra legendary, nothing like that. Just our 10 favorite cards. And I would say my list, these are not cards that I build every game, or I would not say that this is like 10 cards for a winning strategy.
Right.
I would say that these are kind of like 10 cards that I'm always looking out to play every game. But with the deck being so big, sometimes you just don't see these cards, right?
Right. Yep.
So that's what your list would be?
I would say my list is more, by the way, we don't know each other's lists.
Well,
so this is a secret.
She knows some of mine.
I can guess.
Yes. After we've played this game like 150 times,
I would say
just the two of us.
I would say my list is more like if that card is out there, 99% of the time I'm grabbing it no matter what.
Right. So in theory, I should know every card on your list because we
should.
Played it so many times.
You do. You do know. Yeah.
Well, I know all the cards. Whether I know them in order of 10 to 1,
yeah,
we'll find out. But are you ready to begin?
Ready.
Let's do this, starting with... So my number 10 is a production card, and this card costs a twig, a resin, and a pebble. And you probably want to build this the first card if you have the possibility to or the chance to, and that is the storehouse.
I'm so shocked by that.
Are you shocked by that?
Yes.
The storehouse. I don't know. I love the storehouse. I love the, every time you activate it, you put either 3 twigs, 2 resin, 2 berries, or a pebble on there.
Yep.
And then, you just try to build your game to fill that storehouse as much as possible. And I love...
And then you put your guy there and you get a whole bunch of resources.
And I've done this in the past where I legitimately have gotten pretty close to 15 resources with different
you can
different cards.
Reactivating
it and different forest locations.
When I build the storehouse, I feel like I don't end up... It doesn't benefit me enough, but that's me.
But anyways,
I don't end up going there.
Right. You just waste all your resources.
Yes.
For what?
It probably is a good card, and it's worth 2.
It is worth 2.
Which is good. But.
My number 10, the storehouse.
All right, my number 10 is no shock to anybody.
I know.
It's a production card.
What does it cost to build?
It
2
costs
twigs and a resin?
2 twigs and a resin, and it is the farm.
The farm.
I love this card. I know.
The ultimate trap card in Everdell.
It's not a trap.
It's a trap
good.
card. No.
It's a good card.
I will build farms. I will say this. The cards that are on your list, I build.
Right.
So it's not like I'm anti-farm.
But if the farm is out there, or if it's in my hand, I'm building it.
Yeah, you build, but...
Like, it doesn't even matter what season it is.
She loves the farm.
I'm building it.
And
it's good. You get a berry.
You get a berry.
And then you get, the husband-wife combo, whatever. Yeah, it's a good card. I like the farm. I've
farm.
always liked the farm. That was the very first card that I ever built in my very first game of Everdell. So
there you have it.
Nostalgia.
The farm, the ultimate trap. So my number 9 is not a production card.
Okay.
But it costs the same as my number 10. It costs 1 twig, 1 resin, 1 pebble. And this is a destination card. And destination...
Hold on. What is it? Okay, keep going.
This destination lets you copy any basic or forest location, and that is the lookout.
Oh, the lookout. Yeah, that is
the
a good
lookout,
card.
man. Obviously in 2-player, well, in any player count, I think the lookout is kind of overlooked. for lack of better
Overlooked.
puns and whatever.
Okay.
Anyways, I think this is like so overlooked
It
because
is.
you know the board, the forced locations, all basic locations, they're always getting blocked. But for you to have your own location that you can copy one of those, and you can kind of plan your turns around that, knowing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about what other people are doing.
Exactly. And I don't know, the lookouts. That's my number 9.
Okay, that's a good one. I totally forgot about that card when I was making this list. My number 9, I gotta make sure, is Critter.
Okay.
And it is the Wanderer.
Which actually goes with the lookout.
Which goes with the lookout. And those 2 cards are my favorite art of all of the cards.
I
don't know what it is.
The little lizard.
I love those. But that's not why I picked this card. So the Wanderer doesn't take up space in your city.
Awesome.
That alone is just good. And it lets you pick up cards. So lots of times when we're playing the base game, I feel like I don't have enough cards. Like I'm scrambling to get cards in my hand. And so that helps being able to pick up those, what is it? 3 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So number 9 is the Wanderer for me.
And also it's a common critter, so you can have multiple Wanderers in your city, which is actually a really good thing as well.
It is good.
So my number 8 is also a critter, much like your number 9. Mine is your number 9 is a critter. Mine is a critter, and this critter costs 2 berries to build, or you get it free with the post office, and that is the postal pigeon.
The postal pigeon.
And the postal pigeon lets you flip over the top 2 cards of the deck, and then play one of them for free up to a value of 3.
Yeah.
And there's just something about Everdell is not a push your luck game at all, but this is like the one card that lets you push your luck.
Oh yeah, big time.
And you just play that card, and then I've had it where I've been able to build like the theater or build the school or something.
The university I've built with
or the dungeon, like some really really good cards.
It's crazy.
And it's been fantastic. And then you have other times you're like, well, I can't play either of these cards, or neither of these cards help me, and it's kind of just that gamble of the postal pigeon. So my number 8 is the postal pigeon.
All right, my number 8 is a critter.
Okay.
Again.
Yep.
This critter, we both love this card. I'm sure this is on your list too. Mine is the chip sweep.
The chip sweep.
I don't know, reactivating a production can be huge.
Especially if
even in the base game.
Especially, or even if you have like the storehouse, like I was talking about earlier.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Build the storehouse, and then use your chip sweep to reactivate your storehouse.
But I mean, you have something like the general store, and you have a farm as well, and then you can use your chip sweep, and then all of a sudden you get, 2 extra berries. That's huge in the base game. In any game.
In any game.
Or you can, you can reactivate all sorts of good things.
Good cards.
It's good. It's a good card.
Good
and it's
choice.
worth 2.
Yeah, and it's common critter.
And it's common, so you can have 2 of them. You can have 3 of them if you, but.
So,
that'd
good
be
choice.
Awesome to have
Good
3.
choice. That was your number 8.
Number 8, yeah.
So my number 7 was your number 8. My number 7 is the chip sweep.
I'm not surprised.
No, the chip sweep, again, kind of like I said, you can reactivate your storehouse, and there's a whole bunch of other cards which may or may not
Guaranteed,
come up on my
if
list
that
later.
card is out in the meadow,
That's
we are fighting over it.
That's a straight fight.
It is.
And again, it's a common critter. I've had games where I've had 3 chip sweeps.
What?
So moving back into like autumn, and I'm reactivating like, say, my storehouse, and then I reactivate my storehouse with my chip sweep, and I do it again, and I do it again, and that's how I know that I played a game which I've had somewhat close to 15 resources or more on my storehouse, due in part to my multiple chip sweeps. So the card is really cute. So
fair enough.
That is my number 7.
My number 7 is a card that I'm sure is also on your list.
Mm-hmm.
It is a destination card.
Mm-hmm.
It is the university.
University.
Yep.
Wow, it's this high.
It's this high.
Or this low.
Low.
Whatever, this low. It may or may
You know
not
what?
be higher on
I
the
have
list.
to say, it was hard to make this list because I could have made a list of 20 and still would have had trouble.
Right.
Like, there's just lots of good cards.
Well, and the
So-
comboing of things and stuff.
So the university, yeah, it was a tough choice. But there were other things that I like better. Sometimes, like for instance, we just played a game recently where the university was out there, and so was another card that I'll mention later. And I was
You had to pick
debating
one. Yeah.
between the two because I knew whichever one I took, the next person was going to take the other one, and it was over. And I didn't pick the university because I knew I wasn't going to have enough workers to end up being able to go there. And so that's the part about this card that maybe sometimes can be tricky is you have to use a worker
Yeah.
to go there. So
Yeah.
it's a great card though.
Good choice.
Yeah.
That's number 6.
Yes.
Moving on.
No, that was number 7.
Number 7. That
Yeah.
was number 7. Moving on, number 6. This is another critter for me. And this critter is a pretty cheap critter. Only costs you 1 berry, but you are getting good bang for your buck. And that is the Innkeeper.
Yes.
Innkeeper, you play this guy, and then you can remove him. I don't know where he goes. Maybe he just goes back to the inn. Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
Let's just say-
thematically, you're
Yeah,
talking?
thematically. Like he goes back to the inn, and then you can play another critter for 3 berries less. So
Yeah.
for he's great obviously for anything
The Innkeeper.
like a chip sweep. But if you're wanting to do the king who costs 6
yes,
berries,
I was going
or
to
the
say
queen
for
who
those
costs 5
bigger cards.
for the bigger
it's
cards,
huge.
huge card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Innkeeper, 1 berry, steal of a deal, and anytime Innkeeper's in the meadow, this thing.
Oh, it's a fight.
It's a fight for
Yeah.
that. So my number 6 would be the Innkeeper.
Good choice. Good choice. My number 6 is a cheat because it is the husband and wife.
Konami code? Husband and
Am
wife.
I allowed to do that?
Sure, you can do that. You
I did
put
that.
the farm on your list, so you can do anything.
The
at that
husband
point.
and wife combo is awesome. So almost every game I play, I try to build the farm and I try to build the husband and wife. They go together, you get a resource out of the husband, and then comboing, if you combo them together, you get an extra bonus, 2 points.
3.
3 points.
3. So
So
they can
have
come
them
out to
here.
be
yeah. So they're awesome. I love these cards.
and they take up only 1 spot in your city.
Yes.
And I've also played rounds where I've had like 2 sets in my city.
Yeah.
So like 14 victory points for 2 slots out of your 15
Yes.
is a pretty good economical way to build a city.
Yeah. They're awesome. I love the husband and wife.
So I guess this is now a 10.5 or an 11, top 11. That's for Nicole and top 10.
I
list
cheated.
for me. So my number 5. This is a governance card, blue scroll, and you're gonna know what it is as soon as I say any more.
I already know this.
Yeah, you already know. What is it?
Crane.
It is a crane. Costs you 1 pebble. This is another steal of a deal.
It is a good card.
Much like the Innkeeper, instead of 1 berry, and you can subtract 3 berries from another. You can replace the Innkeeper with another critter for 3 less berries. You can do the same thing with the crane. So
Yeah.
this is a steal of a deal, and it's even more of a steal of a deal if you're playing Probrook and you have the Innkeeper and the crane.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you can go to the river right away for like 2 resources. And so the crane, absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Total fight for that one when it's in the meadow. And so, yes, my number 5 is the crane.
Okay, my number 5 you've already talked about. So we are going to
The
just
storehouse?
go
This
over
high?
it quickly again. The storehouse, yeah. Storehouse is not on my list.
Okay.
Spoiler. This is the postal pigeon for
Postal
me.
pigeon.
So we already talked about it, but
Yeah.
I will say this.
What?
The first 50 times that we played Everdell, I did not realize how good this card was. I thought it was useless. It's worth 0.
It can be useless. It can be useless if you flip over like 2 ruins. Or
I just
something.
never picked it up, and then one day I just realized.
You saw the light.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's awesome. It's a good card.
Good
Very
call.
much overlooked.
Postal Pigeon, your number 5.
Yeah.
Moving on. So my number 4 is a production card.
Ooh.
Yes, it is the farm. No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
It's not the farm. That's not on my list. The trap card. The farm is the trap card. Anyways.
Oh, enough. Yeah.
I'm sure there's like tons of like calculations done saying the farm is actually better than I'm saying it is and whatnot.
Yeah.
But or there's calculations proving my point that the farm isn't as good as.
Just talk about what
Okay.
your actual thing is.
My number 4 is a production card, and it costs you only 1 berry. It is a critter, and it is the monk.
Okay.
And I love the monk, especially if you have a little berry engine, and that you
Yes.
can use or you gain a whole bunch of berries, and then if you can compound it with different chip sweeps,
Yep.
the monk is great. And so the monk, you may give one opponent 2 berries as a donation for 2 victory points each. So 2 berries equals 4 victory points. Really.
Our last play of Everdell on the weekend,
Yes.
I had the monk and I had a good berry engine. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I
probably,
had
it was probably the farm and the general,
The general store, probably. And the chip sweep.
Yeah.
But I got, I don't know how many victory points out of
Yeah.
my monk. Probably at least, like for sure 8.
Yeah.
Probably more though.
Yeah, you activated a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it, and I love that.
Although
whole,
it helped you a bunch.
it did,
so-
and that's the crazy thing about the monk
I don't
is
know.
it's powerful for the person giving the stuff away because 4 victory points is quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's also then helping other players, and that's kind of the balance
Yeah.
that James A. Wilson has mastered in
I
this
will
game, in my
say,
opinion.
yeah.
That balance of, man, I'm giving resources away to help you, but it's
Yeah.
helping me probably a little bit more,
Yeah, hopefully.
but maybe not.
Because
and so,
4 victory points is a lot for 2 berries.
yeah, it is.
I would
And
say.
again, you do it a couple times, and that's 8 victory points right there, right?
But, okay, I like, for me personally, I like the monk better when it's more than a 2-player game because then you can
Yeah, you can
kind
get
of
it to,
spread out who you're giving berries to. Like if it's just me and you playing and I'm giving you constantly berries, I don't like that.
yeah. I can see, totally understandable.
But-
So my number 4, it is the monk.
Okay, my number 4 is also a critter.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, I know what it is.
it is, you know what it is?
It's 1 or 2.
Okay. It costs 2 berries.
It's a governance card.
No. It is the ranger.
I thought that would be
Yeah.
higher. Ranger.
So I know the Rangers for sure on your list somewhere.
Maybe.
Coming up?
Maybe.
The Ranger we've loved from the beginning. I think everyone loves the Ranger. It is like a huge. If the Ranger comes up in the meadow, it's like we all look at each other like,
Who's got berries? Who's got 2 berries? Who can get this?
I mean, it's a big deal when you can have an extra move in the game.
It's not an extra worker. You just get to move an already deployed worker to a
Yeah.
new location.
But that can, I mean, okay, I guess if we're talking about the base game, whatever. But if we're talking about some expansions, you can move your ranger from like, the 3 twigs spot to like a special event or something like that, right?
Yeah, and I've done that.
And get a
many
whole
times.
bunch of victory points just
Yeah.
from having a ranger. So it's a good card.
Ranger,
Plus-
Grey Cloak's Hideout,
Yeah.
Inspire
Right.
Cast. Like, that's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah. So it's a great card.
There we go. That is that was what?
Number 4. Yeah.
Moving along, top 3 coming up. So my number 3 was already on your list, a little higher up, or lower up, whatever.
University?
It is a building that takes 2 pebbles to build, as well as 1 resin. 2 pebbles, 1 resin.
Did I just say it?
I don't know. There's 2 buildings that take that.
But I just said the university.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
It's the university. University. I love this card. You can put a worker on there, and then you can remove a card from your city, be it a critter or a construction.
Yeah.
You get the resources back that you paid for that.
Yeah, it's a good card.
For that critter or construction.
Plus it's worth 3.
Plus you get an additional victory point and an additional resource.
Yeah,
so like that is just
it's a good card.
Man, in a game where you can only fit 15 cards into your city, except outside of like the Wanderer, and the husband and wife combo, but 15 cards in your city, man, the university is an amazing way to free up a spot, and even better if you're using your university to get rid of a ruins that you've already used your ruins to,
That's true.
knock out a ruin like the clock tower or something.
Yeah.
And you can combo that with a couple cards. That is such a satisfying turn to be able to do that. So my number 3, it is the university.
All right. My number 3 is the crane, which you've already talked about. Yeah, I love this card. If there's a crane, it is getting played.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the crane, number 3.
Okay, my number 2 is another building that costs 2 pebbles and 1 resin to build, and that is the dungeon.
The dungeon.
And the dungeon is amazing. You can put a critter in the dungeon and then build either a critter or construction for 3 resources less, which is amazing. So I've done it in the past where I've, thrown the postal pigeon, gotten him, or used the postal pigeon to its full potential, put that in the dungeon to play.
Free up a spot.
Yeah, it frees up a spot to play a university. I've done that tons of times. Or, another card that'll then get you further along in Everdell. So my number 2 is the dungeon.
All right. My number 2 is probably going to shock you a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know.
Critter or construction?
Construction. Disclaimer. This is the one exception of my list. If this comes out, I do not always play it.
Okay.
And that is the courthouse.
Courthouse. Nice. Yes.
It's a great card in the first couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes out in the last season, if it comes out in fall, I'm not playing it.
No.
Unless I have an empty city for some reason.
Right.
But
sometimes you've had a terrible game and you may have a half-empty city.
But to get a resource back every time you build a construction is huge to me.
Yeah.
Like you can build, if you have the courthouse and then you get the crane and you build the crane, you just get your pebble back.
Yeah.
It's like building it for free.
Yeah.
It's just a really good card.
You know what? And to be honest, the courthouse is one of the cards where I never really have sunk my teeth into it. Like I know it's good, but it's not one card. So no surprise. My last one is not the courthouse. But it's good, but I'm never drawn to the courthouse.
I love the courthouse.
And sometimes like I will build it on occasion, but I'm not like, man, I'm going to hunt down deck dive for the courthouse. Or
if it comes out in winter or spring, I'm building it for sure.
Yeah.
If I can, of course. And it comes with the judge. That's also another thing that I love, right? The judge is such a good... Everyone forgets about the judge, but the judge is good. You can exchange a resource for a resource, which can be huge.
When building something. Yeah,
building something.
Yeah, you can replace something.
Yeah, it could be, So, and the judge is worth, I don't know.
2.
2.
You need credit.
So it's good.
Good call.
Yeah.
So my number 1, it is the critter that lives in the dungeon. Nicole has already said it, and that is the ranger.
Yeah.
Something about it, like Nicole said, it's like an extra. It's like an extra turner, an extra worker.
And you
it's
know what?
Not, but it is.
Probably statistically, it's not. It's probably not as good as we think it is.
And it may not be.
Probably not.
But
it seems so good.
And I've done it. Oh man, it's amazing. It opens your second dungeon spot, so you can then discard a second critter into your dungeon.
That's also
which
huge.
is amazing.
Yeah.
And if you ever hit the jackpot and then you have both rangers in your hand, you play your first one.
Yeah, I've done that.
Move a deployed worker, and then you put the first ranger in the dungeon, only to play the second ranger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which is and another additional move.
Doesn't happen very often.
No.
But
if you have that, mind you, I did just beat you on a game in which you had
yes,
2 Rangers.
yes.
And
I thought for sure I had the win.
Did you not ruin your?
I ruined my dungeon.
You then use your university to get rid of your dungeon.
Yeah.
To rebuild the dungeon, and I still won.
Yes.
It's because she had too many farms.
So maybe those
too many
cards
farms.
aren't as good as we think they are. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
But they're awesome.
But so my number one, my favorite card, I deck dive for this kind of every game, and that is the Ranger.
All right, that's not that surprising.
No.
And you must know what my number one is because it hasn't been mentioned yet. For me.
The what?
And so my number one, my number one card is the dungeon.
Okay, the dungeon.
I haven't mentioned it yet.
Right.
Honorable mention to the Innkeeper. It was really hard not to put that one on my list, but
the dungeon, yeah.
The dungeon. It's amazing.
Great.
I love that card.
So that is our top 10 cards. What are your top 10 cards, combos, kind of what you love in Everdell? I think this is actually a really cool list. I only have a couple production cards, and you only had a couple production cards. And I know they've done like a no production card challenge. I know, like the designer James A. Wilson's.
I don't think I've heard of this.
On BGG. Play the game and never build a production card because they seem so good. Like the production
Why
cards,
haven't we done this challenge?
Like the farm. The farm seems like amazing, and you know
It is
all these production cards seem amazing because you activate them 3 times technically when you build them.
Yeah.
Maybe not 3 times.
Depending on when you build them.
Yeah. You activate them again in autumn, and then you gain all these extra resources. But there are ways to play Everdell.
We need to try that.
With no production cards, and you can win that way with these governance cards and with these destination cards. So
we should do that.
Yeah, we should do that and see how well we can do that by not playing any green production cards. So those are our lists, top 10 favorite Everdell cards. And I know with the Mistwood expansion and New Leaf, well, specifically New Leaf, they're adding a whole bunch of new ones. I don't know exactly how many. I want to say it's like a third of the deck or like 60 more cards or something like that. So I'm curious to see when all that comes into play, what if my list changes, because there's going to be so many new cards.
We should do this again next year.
We'll be able to, combo more, and so more to discover. So there you have it. That is what we think about Everdell and the cards. My name is Brent.
I'm Nicole.
And we have had a great time hanging out with you. Check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with a Chance of Meeples. Remember, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.